Live. Here it is. All right.
All right, so here we are, starting the actual non-prelude game. Yay!
Yay!
So,
Another prelude?
no, non-prelude.
Ah.
The last week was just the prelude to the prelude.
So, now that you're all on Agneus and have all come into the completely settled inquisitorial fortress, um, you know, each of you have been, given temporary quarters that you can stay in, and had a bit of time to recover from your travel, and then you're all brought to a central place that looks to be uh, pretty much possibly one of the best centers of well-kept technology you've ever run into, including, even Mordecai, who is an actual tech priest from a Forge world.
Yeah.
And you're like, holy shit, this is actually well maintained.
I think it's better stuff in a Forge world than something that lowly guys like him see it.
But yeah, there you've got a number of different people. Most of you will recognize Gunnar. Also next to him is Vespero, who was the bald person with the tattoo over his head and presumably large amounts of his body. Also there are Kyle and a couple other people that you don't necessarily recognize. And another tech priest that those of you familiar with the tech cult can see is a Magos. And, Gunnar's like, okay, good, you're all here. Each of you have been brought here for a number of reasons, largely because you have a very useful set of skills. And as some of you may or may not have figured out, this is also potentially recruitment. The Inquisitor I work for is always looking out for, people that have already caught his eye in other ways, and seeing how they can work together with the Inquisition. That said, here are the details that as we know them. Right now, some group is siphoning off a large amount of Devastone to create an honestly unprecedented supply of what's currently being called either Deva's Dust or Angel's Dust, depending on the worlds. And pretty much causing problems. I know of at least 7 separate incidents of possession that have been caused by this in non-psychers. Suffice it to say, that's a problem. And these are across about 3 different worlds. So we're going to be tracking down first where they're manufacturing it, because this amount requires an actual industrial manufacturing base. Second, how they're getting it off planet. I have a couple ideas on there, but that's just because I have a bit of experience in smuggling things off planet. And also, we're trying to figure out who's behind this, because honestly, this is not something you sell to create a permanent market for. This is something you sell to create a disturbance. So, any questions?
I guess not.
Well, some of us will giving a chance for others to speak first. I have thought of a few items which may make things easier if we acquire them now, and he'll step forward a data slate and hold it out, whether they want to take it or have them put it somewhere else.
Okay, you'll have to repeat that because my brain just suddenly went. Zap.
He basically he says that that he was waiting for a chance for somebody else to speak first, but he will step forward and he will hand over a data slate of items he thinks could, like, just small things that could be useful, and also specifically on information that were not local to the plant, so we don't know this stuff.
Yep. And Gunnar looks it over. What is on the data slate?
Okay. Let's see. Local microbreed frequencies for the enforcers.
Mm-hmm.
Arbite precinct contact details, because he does not expect, because we're not like full agents. I'm not expecting him to give us the Arbite frequencies, but a contact details for them. Basically, also a suggestion that we should also set up a microbreed frequency we use, which he'll be able to monitor as well. A secondary backup frequency everyone should be out, and a tertiary one in case any of those get compromised. Some disguises, including for himself possibly a worn tech adept robe, as he is a basically certified tech adept amongst other things, just to blend in a bit better. A used vehicle, possibly from an enforcer impound lot from a used car salesman. Some maps and local currency in small denominations.
Gunnar looks over that and just sort of smiles and says, "Well, you've certainly thought this through. Let's see. I can definitely get you contact for some of the local arbites, as well as what passes for enforcers on this planet, which... Actually, hang on. Actually, most of that is just done by the PDF.
Yeah, that's good.
So I can at least give you contact with some of the local PDF. Oh, yes, one other thing. So you understand the urgency of this, we do have one... there is definite evidence that someone out there is using this in large quantities here. Here's something that we were able to recover from a lost PDF local patrol, which fortunately I think will be able to narrow down the areas in which the factory is likely to be in. And then he heads on over to, there's a central dais that's obviously a little video projector thing. He enters in some controls, and for a brief period you get something that's flipped upside down. Then he applies the right of percussive maintenance, and it's fixed back, put back right side up. And what you see is looks to be a recording from based on the images. At the very least, it's some sort of Imperial Guard group. The fact that he mentioned it was PDF suggests that it's, hey, the local PDF. About a half squad of about 5 men that are heading through the woods. A little bit of talk about they'd heard that the sounds were coming from one direction, and then pretty much it's, for those of you who were still there when I went through Erica's prelude, it's the same video. Which,
okay, I was going to ask.
which has the small PDF element running into a demon host, and then they kill the host's body, and out comes a demon. And yeah, after that's done, Gunnar says, "This was found." The most disturbing part is there weren't any bodies, but the pict recorder was actually found pretty much all by itself in one section of a forest on the southern continent.
Was anything else found with the recorder? Like, not necessarily bodies, but other types of artifacts, things that had been destroyed, or...
At one point during there, someone actually threw a las gun primed to explode. We did find the residue of that explosion nearby. So I'm not entirely certain why they caught everything else. I mean, it's quite possible this just got knocked free and they missed it. But in which it's either that or they intended us to find it. Either way, they're pretty bold. So, that said, my suggestion would be to start by talking with the Miners Guild. Among other things, they usually have some insight into who's producing, some of the Deva's dust. There's always usually some minor operation doing small amounts of it, but very rarely in these quantities. So I check with them. There's not actually a lot of other. Most of the criminal groups here are either run by local nobles or by the guild. So I pretty much try checking with them. Exactly how, I leave that up to you, but one thing that's always worked for me is, oh hey, I'm a interested buyer. Oh yes, and microbeads, he actually, turns over to Vespro, says, he says, could you go get the microbeads? Turns back and says, oh yes, and what's more, I've actually got a fairly well disguised box that can act as a repeater for them. So even if you're fairly well separated, let's just say this Vox repeater is very powerful, and you won't even have to carry it. Most microbeads only have a range of about 1 kilometer, if you're lucky. Vespro comes back with a series of beads. It's like,
can I ask a very quick question between this?
Mm-hmm.
The stuff we created in character creation, do we already have all that?
Yeah.
So my character now has a second microbead.
Yep.
That's not useful.
Yeah.
That's very useful.
You can always use a spare.
Now, he basically says, these microbeads have been preset frequency 1. And the first preset will allow you to communicate with each other and myself. The second preset is essentially a team-only frequency. Third preset is a backup in case both of those frequencies somehow get compromised. Fourth frequency will get you enforcers. Well, PDF really. And there's a fifth frequency which will essentially be a oh god, Emperor, we're all dead panic button. If you go to there, it will automatically broadcast in that essentially a distress call, as it were. He and Vespro, just puts them down in a on a table, lets people come and pick them up.
Gaius will pick up his. He'll pick up a few others, bringing them back to the group in case anybody's hanging back. Although he's going to be a little bit more wary around. Sorry, you written down there. Amelia Camellia, because I assume she's probably wearing heraldry of like, "Look at me, I'm a psyker," so it'll be a bit more tentative handing that one over.
And Gunnar also hands over a data slate. Says this gives a listing of the various local gangs and syndicates and who, to the best of our knowledge, they're actually run by. This will probably assist you in your endeavor. It's pretty straightforward, though. Any questions about stuff that might not be on there? Also, it looks like we just lost a Nick.
Yeah, he'll be back.
So, yeah, Gunnar nods and says, "We can definitely get you the used van, I believe. There are a couple of those. Yeah. Used van, you also won't have to worry about, very obviously, walking right out of the Inquisitorial fortress. We have a few hidden exits around the city. It's just, mostly we consider this a use. Just the fact that this is here is sometimes a useful deterrent.
Gaius will kind of salute, things seem to be coming to a close.
And, Gunnar nods, and turns to Vespro, who just stalks out of the room. And Gunnar and the Magus leave right after him. So evidently you're being left in here to make whatever plans.
Are we waiting for Nick to come back, or are we just continuing?
We'll see how long it takes Nick to come back.
Do we know where he went?
He just vanished.
Then I look at Gaius. Is that how you say it, right?
Yeah, Gaius.
And I basically just said to him, "You seem to have an idea so far. What's your plan?"
Well, I think the suggestions we've done so far are quite good. We can discreetly go without attracting too much attention. Unfortunately, he'll gesture towards his own armor. We will. This is hardly a battlefront, so we will have to leave some of these behind. But he'll kind of just towards the supplies they brought in, a reset of the skies and things like that. It's like these should give us a little bit of basic protection, but at the same time not attract. There's no need to stop las boats if nobody's shooting them at you. Subtlety might be a better armor in this particular situation. We go in, we'll try and figure out where it's coming from, and once we know more, we can formulate a better plan beyond that point.
Sounds okay.
But to reiterate the objectives you were given, track down the industrial manufacturing base, how they are getting these off planet, and who's behind all this. I endeavor for us to achieve all three objectives.
That sounds good.
So, Tech Priest, are you... I had asked your prestigious colleague exactly some questions on what kind of materials they would need to produce this kind of material, this dust. And he gave me some details. So I took some notes, and he'll hand them over on a data slate, basically, because remember I did ask questions about, hey, how are these things? So possibly with the maps, the two of us could sit down, narrow down the fields of where these may be made. Possibly with a bit
course.
more information. Just narrowing down what kind of areas, if they need a lot of coolant, that would suggest certain areas and other things. But
I think that sounds like an excellent idea. I'll try to help you as much as I can. Hang on.
yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah, good.
So maybe we could get some kind of a roll to, because we're not going to get the specific area, but we might start narrowing down the field already before leaving the building.
Mhm.
Because depending on the materials, like it might be something that you could just make anywhere, but if it needs very specific materials or different specific kind of climate, or they need specific other resources, it might give us somewhere to look as well.
Well, the main thing that will be required for it is a power source. Most of the other parts are stuff that, what actually probably surprises you both. Most of the other parts are actually just very common SDC patterns. So, those are, things that you might find, say, in the engine of some of the standard cars that go around. Some parts you could easily cannibalize from various weapons and armor. Also from, simple comm system devices, and a few filtration devices as well.
So
Basically, this is only slight. The scale of it's impressive, but as far as the amount of steel going in, it's about the same as goes into your average. Your average enlisted run still.
okay, that makes it. But the sheer quantity of it would mean they have to be sucking up a lot of power. So that's gonna restrict it to urban areas mostly, unless they've got some independent.
Do we have a map from the entire area or not?
Yeah, you've actually got a good. What this actually is apparently it's two different survey maps of the southern continent. One taken about 5 years ago, and one taken about 3 months ago. Which, among other things, you can actually notice. You can definitely notice the progress of some of the mining facilities, because this is pretty much strip mining and borehole mining. So, very much, rip what you need and, let the planet heal itself later, if at all.
Sir?
Yeah?
I was going to ask the characters. So, does anyone have any? He's looking more towards the 2 hours, unfortunately. One of them's there. Anyone have any particular skills at questioning individuals, preferably without needing an interrogation room, however?
I just raise my hand.
Okay. So, we should hopefully be able to get the information nice and discreetly. Talking to a few miners.
I'm guessing Nick isn't here to talk about it, but does Nick have any interrogation skills of his own?
I'm not talking about interrogation, I'm talking about without interrogation. Because interrogation requires us to drag people off in the back of the van and stuff, and yeah.
And I slowly start lowering my hand.
Very well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Turns out Nick does have the inquiry skill.
Okay.
Only he were
Yeah,
here.
Ask him.
He took this thing I didn't take.
So yeah, let's I'm thinking if we take the advice, we head straight out to where the miners are. Just look around. Actually, do we have any are we able to see any copy, basically any samples they have, or even photos of samples they have acquired? Like, is this being packaged in a certain type of thing? Is this liquid? Is it, like, I know they're saying dust, but sometimes it's not always, but are they put in any kind of, like, stylized packaging, or is it just whatever, it's just some baggies?
Mostly it's actually like in little sealed edge baggies, kind of like the little desiccant stuff you'll often find inside of random things. And, the stuff that's in a package that says "do not eat" that you often find inside things that need to be kept dry.
Okay.
My character had been investigating these things for a time before he came here.
Yeah. And
Does he know? He knows that it's basically commoners and lower people who do it because they think they turn into a psyker. Is there any common areas that it seems to pop up whenever we were looking into the case, or not?
more regularly showing up among gangers.
Anywhere specific, geographically speaking, since now we have the map?
That's the thing. It's being sent off-world all around the,
Yeah.
to a good chunk of the whole sector.
Okay.
Are we all looking at the map? Like, is it sprawled out on the table?
No, you can actually pull up the map on the little projector in the middle.
Okay.
It's it's largely it's actually Mechanicus surveyor maps. Among other things, after poking at it a bit, you find that it's it'll show relief maps, it'll show population density maps, it shows biomass maps, it shows energy density maps, heat density maps, all sorts of stuff. They tend to be very thorough.
And they needed a lot of energy to make the stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So if we look at the map, is there a place that just pops up as a thing with enormous amounts of energy?
Oh, everyone make an awareness check.
Which is just
Yeah.
a D10.
Find the spot with
Oh,
North
D100?
thing. It's find the one that shouldn't be there, or we can't find an explanation
Yep.
for.
It's a D100.
And then from the skill.
Yep, and then basically you need to roll under perception if you have awareness as a skill. Roll more than 20 under awareness if you don't have, or under perception if you don't have awareness as a skill.
Wait, how much do I need to roll under it?
If you have awareness as a skill, which I believe you do,
Yes.
you just have to roll under your perception score.
Too bad.
And if I don't have perception, what did I need to... no, wait, if I don't have awareness, what do I need to roll?
You need to roll under your perception minus 20.
Okay, so... nope, failed.
Have you tried rolling?
26. Yes, I'm under my perception.
Cool. And Kevin, do you make it?
No, I failed.
Okay. So for some reason this...
You guys are showing up on your video.
Yeah, yours is...
Mine...
Yeah.
Yeah, my name went away too. Oh well.
We just waited an hour for it, doesn't matter.
Yeah, let's not try restarting.
Yep, I can at least
Figure
look
about
over.
it.
And yeah, so... yeah, no, I already looked over. So you actually notice, Erica, under the... you notice one thing in this one little valley that is a decent, not too, it's far enough away that you could see someone making a settlement, but basically there's no actual signs of settlement around it. There's just this sudden, it shows up on the relief map as a sudden boxy thing, and then shows up on the heat map as about 20 to 30 degrees above ambient.
Okay.
I
Boxing
will-
thing, as in like a kind of
Building.
like, okay.
Well,
would-
look. Okay. Keep interrupting. Sorry, my bad.
No, go ahead.
Assuming this is pointed out to us, if we check our superiors, is there any record of this building? Like, is there any planning permits or anything? Depending the setup of the plant is basically, is this recorded anywhere? Like, is there
Let's see. After searching around for a little bit, you're actually able to find that this is listed as a storage depot.
Oh, do we know
Are-
what's
are-
being stored there?
It basically says assorted tools.
Are there still people from the Inquisition around us or not?
They're not in the room, but they can probably be called in.
I want to call someone in who has a little bit of a local knowledge of the gangs in the neighborhood.
Hmm. All right.
Or I do have like common lore and doors because I got the infused knowledge. I might have heard of like who has this area or something.
Now, actually, if you got that, you can go ahead and make a roll.
Okay. Rolling. Partial success.
All right.
Although actually it depends. If you're going for challenging difficulty, if you're going for ordinary difficulty. If you're going for ordinary difficulty, I succeed.
This one would be challenging.
Okay, so yeah, not really. I'm not getting anything with that.
I still try to call someone in for it.
Okay. When you end up if you say, hey, can we get, well, among other things, you do have a data slate that has details about some of the gangs.
I want to
territories.
see if there's any gangs close to that warehouse or place where they stock tools and stuff.
Yeah, that's where it's located. I mean, it almost makes sense if there were any indication that they were going to start mining nearby, but there's none. And mostly the gangs are actually set up where there are people. That's a place where there aren't any people at the moment.
I'll relay this information to the. Well, if he's saying it, then.
Is there a possibility that there are people there that we don't have any sort of record of?
That's entirely possible.
Oh, definitely, but they could just be making moonshine. It's not guaranteed this is what we're looking for, but it's definitely worth noting.
If you're doing something like this, it's certainly possible they wouldn't want to be known. So.
This one is this is the only spot we're finding it because it would require considerable, especially the quantities they're making. So the power signature and the fact this was not registered, they're storing tools.
Mm-hmm.
We have a large storage facility with gangers nearby and a considerate power source. This is the best fleet we have right now.
Well, we haven't even left the room. We could ask more questions. If we are going after something, I don't think we should go storming into the place straight away. I think perhaps the best move we could initially do is tail. Like they're probably going to have vans or aircraft or something coming from place. If it's an aircraft, it will probably have some kind of serial code on the side of it, and we could basically put out basically try and figure out where that goes to next, even to review data later on. If it's a truck or something, we could just tail it in the van for a bit, figure out where it is, that kind of a thing. Or just, once more, they're probably something like license plates, if we can access enforcer stuff, or if they've got speed cameras, that kind of type thing, we could, maybe, but we need to identify something going from it, because once we figure out where it goes to, we could discreetly sneak in to another, because if this is the place where it's being manufactured, they're going to have loads of security. We've got to be careful. We can't just go charging it.
Do you want to stake out the building? Do you want to go for the Miners Guild? Was it a Miners Guild? Miners thingy first. Miners Factory.
Yeah, let's check out the miners first, because that'll be a bit quicker potentially.
So, two options on the miners. You could either go for their representatives in town. The nearest mining center to this place is about 100 kilometers away. It's a large borehole mine that primarily is mining Devastone and something else, that's currently listed as adamantite substrate.
Okay.
So, place my adamantite substrate. And see, the thing is, the guys who are the reps, they might be rubbing shoulders with. They're saying most of the gangs are actually heads up or run by nobles, so they might not want to piss off their business partners. And also, the guys aren't going to be turning around telling their bosses that they're taking these drugs. The actual guys on the ground might know more of the information we have and might be less directly involved. Although we could always get unlucky. So, if we go by that logic, it might be better just to discreetly go in and talk to the Lord guys.
Okay, why we're going in to buy stuff then?
Yeah, we identify, basically get information about why.
Well, I
this
mean, what's our story to go in there?
And that's the thing. It depends what people are going for. We could just be asking around. We're trying to. Yeah, we could buy a small amount and kind of go. Yeah, we're looking to procure samples for some off-world people, basically, who we should be talking to. We could basically ask those kind of, or basically like, yeah, we want to talk. So we could talk our way up the food chain, or just get information directly, even just by trying to overhear people and things like that.
Okay. So that's our first point.
It's worth giving a shot.
I'm still standing in my, I think, light carapace. I'm asking, so you want me to get rid of this?
Unfortunately, that would seem to be a good way to go. We can't bring all of our weaponry. Or, well, I don't think the miners will be inclined to give us the kind of information we want without having to go to the lengths that would attract a lot of attention.
Oh well.
Because yeah, if we walk up in carapace hours, I was like, Jesus Christ, you're gonna kill us all. Yeah, we're looking for some drugs, man.
So, what are people going to be disguised as then?
I'm gonna try and look like well, actually, I might. If our other if our other guy isn't going to be showing up, I was going to look like a scribe, but now, yeah, actually, I look like a kind of middle management type guy, robes, somebody who looks like they're after coming from a merchant ship or something. You know, look good clothes, but not fantastic.
I would really like to keep my weapons with me if we're going there, which means also the sniper rifle on my back.
I
So
imagine
something I could hide that in?
I imagine the sniper rifle, much like I'm thinking for my own las gun, could probably be disassembled. You probably couldn't reassemble it very quickly, but you know, if you've got like a minute or so, you could probably rebuild it back up and then start taking shots.
Is this true or not?
Yeah. We'll go with yes.
Okay.
I'm just asking. You know, in the movies, the sniper's always taking out all this stuff.
Yeah, the professional. Okay, then I want to basically disassemble my gun into a smaller, easily hidden piece.
No, it's more like there's going to be a carrying case for it, but you know, there's
not immediately obvious what's in the case.
Yep.
You know, kind of thing. And that lends some credibility toward it. For myself, probably gonna be ditching the sword. It'll attract too much attention. I'll put on
can I still take my shotgun with me just for protection?
You could be one of the muscle. Let's get like a duffel bag, or somebody's really paying attention. They're gonna like, oh, this guy's got a shock. Like if they're really if they're trying to size us up, this guy's got some hardware. Like they'll see the shock. It's in the duffel bag. They might size that up. For my own guy, I'm gonna wear robe. Just like I said, look like mineral management counter. I'm not coming to sword. I'm gonna have the gun disassembled, but I've got a concealed holster and las pistol. So if anybody's really observant, they're going to see, okay, we've got some stuff. I've got a las pistol. I'm the talky guy, but it's in a concealed holster, so I'm not being too aggressive. My muscle over here's got a shotgun in the bag if things get heated.
Okay,
as opposed to showing up with sniper rifles and carpet hammer. Come on, motherfuckers, tell us where the stuff is.
Okay, so basically I'll take the shotgun in a duffel bag or something with me, make sure that the stock is sticking out of the backside so that people can actually see that I'm carrying something, and probably just have my gun in my belt or something.
What kind of gun is that?
It's just a normal hand cannon.
A hand cannon? Jesus. Okay, maybe we should get you some robes, have that on the inside so you can pull it out.
I don't know how big the hand cannon is, but I think if you just tuck it behind your belt, it just looks like you have it with you in case of.
It's still a huge pistol, although this makes us look like we're kind of low-end criminal elements coming in, kind of as opposed to.
If I'm walking around like the muscle and I just have a gun in my bag.
Yeah, that's a serious pistol, but it'll work. Kind of thing.
Yeah. So basically, my character is only hiding the sniper rifle, and the other ones are actually visible from a surface level.
Yeah, if somebody's paying attention, they'll see the shotgun, but it's like the only really visible one is the hand cannon, kind of like because you're my tough guy.
And it's like one of the things where if I just move my jacket, you can see the gun for the whole
Yeah,
intimidation without
that
talking
kind of
thing. Okay, I think this is a great plan. And I'm looking for the nicest looking common clothes. If he has a few.
Yeah, there's actually pretty extensive disguise options here.
Oh,
Okay, so what's the disguise options?
Okay, basically anything you can think of, you can probably put together.
is there
Maybe
anything
so.
that-
If I want a fake mustache, I can have a fake mustache.
Sure. How good are you at putting on at applying fake mustaches, though?
Isn't it just some glue and a
what's on
mustache?
our skill list?
There's an actual set of skills.
Deceive?
I think it's deceive used for disguise rolls. I forget exactly which.
Okay, well, no mustache then,
Yeah.
unfortunately.
I don't know if I can disguise myself with the mechadendrites and also.
Yeah, the
Okay.
mechadendrites are kind of a obvious thing. However, not every member of the tech priest is necessarily completely on the up and up.
Yeah.
We're all trying to disguise us, and there's just a tech priest walking with us.
Yeah,
He's to make sure the goods are up to scratch.
Yeah, maybe.
well, he's got an optical and a utility mechadendrite.
That's not too bad.
Yes, and I think I'll be leaving my auto gun in or behind or something, and just have the auto pistol in case something goes wrong.
One can only hope.
Yeah.
So, Erica, what are you going to be bringing with? And what are you going to try and disguise yourself as?
I have to figure out what is an acceptable disguise. Is there anything we should not be disguised as?
A psyker.
Okay. So,
Do not disguise yourself as an arbitress.
The only kind of psyker I could make that work with is if you disguise yourself as an astrobat.
I am disguised as a non-psyker, and I will bring my last pistol because that seems to be my smallest weapon.
Yep. Well, you could probably bring the whip. That one.
Sure, why not?
But the
Well, that doesn't
warhammer,
matter.
the warhammer
Yeah.
might be a bit
That one
much.
down.
Can she disassemble the warhammer? And the sticky part goes into the.
I can totally disassemble a sword. Haven't you ever seen Highlander? Get out of my game.
It's
Just
mono,
before
so
the
that
fight.
means it's disassembleable.
We're just all disassembling weapons, and before the fight, we're just give us 1 minute.
Time out! Time out!
So with this approach, we're standing out a little bit, but we're standing out looking like basically some criminals who are looking to make
Well,
a connection.
Basically, the Inquisition is here in full force, so I guess if they really think, like, the Inquisition will probably just look like the Inquisition.
I mean, we'd have like belt buckle
Yeah.
hats, and we'd be running around with flamethrowers and stuff like that.
Yeah, we'll probably go for a mercenary group or a group of gangers muscling into territory. Not as much
Well,
as...
no, we're not muscling in. Muscling gets us shot at. We're looking to make we're some off-worlders. We're looking to make a connection.
I understand, but I mean, if they're going to be suspicious, they're probably going to associate us first with that, and later, like, these guys are working for the Inquisition.
Visible gear is a las pistol, and like I think it's like that end of stuff is like, oh yeah, except for the heavy. The heavy's got a hand cannon. We're hardcore criminals, we are.
Okay.
But we can still take the armor and stuff. We can keep that in the van in case it looks like we have to act on something.
And you also requested a car, unmarked
Yeah.
bills,
The van, Small
Yeah,
credits kind of thing.
Yes, you can
a plane
definitely
taking
get.
us to the Bahamas, just everything.
Well, technically, you're going to need like either a plane or suborbital to get you over to where the borehole is, if that's where you're going. But were you going to the borehole or staying here in the city?
We can also just go with the car and have the road trip of our lives.
Too long.
Aw.
Like we're in France. Like we're in Paris. Drive to Berlin there, lads. No.
Actually, it's more like you're in Paris. Hey guys, let's go drive to Libya.
Oh.
Is
Yeah,
it
I'm not
theoretically
driving.
possible? Yes.
I
Would you want to do
spy
it?
with
Not
my
necessarily.
little eye. Shut the fuck up! Okay, so we have our plan.
And so, were you guys going to the borehole then, or
Borehole.
Guess-
borehole? All right. So yeah, you can easily, they do have a number of suborbital shuttles popping around, and they'll make sure that there's a.
Is it suspicious if we enter there through that kind of thing?
No, that's actually usually. Most people who come to here, like, they'll land in the main city and then take a suborbital to wherever it is they're going, unless for some reason they're trying to hide the fact that they're here from the planetary governor.
Okay.
And if you want to go for, they also are like, well, there's also an option where we can also take you on a disguised ship we have and drop you off near the borehole, and you can drive up from there. That will that will basically take off different alerts than taking the suborbital would.
I just look at Gaius because he's clearly the one calling the
actually,
shots right now.
Can we take, like, if we get some money, can we basically rent a vehicle from a private firm to take us out there?
Yeah.
Because that will seem like something, criminals who've not had insubstantial means would do.
Yep. No, that can definitely be done.
We so gangsta.
We're gonna gold plate your we're gonna gild your hand cannons.
And get someone with trade scrimshaw to write stuff on it. Which will of course be illuminated manuscripts, but
Okay.
So, all right, you're able, and yeah, basically, once you pretty much say, "Hey, this is our plan," Gunnar at this point has probably come back, says, "Oh, that's actually useful. We do have a at least one cover company we can use to do this, and yeah, we actually often use it to keep an eye on the people who are doing criminal enterprise here." So.
We'll point out to him the building we have suspicions about, but we want to gather more information before we even go snooping around there.
He looks at it, taps a few things. You can tell that he's definitely got some experience working around with, technology. He goes, huh. Yeah, that does look actually like probably the best bet for production of this. And then he just sits there and looks for a moment. Rapidly, taps out several different things, which looks like he's exactly. He pops into another level of the survey. You're not even sure what this. Even Mordecai is not certain what this level shows, but there. At that area, there seems to be on both levels, like about 10 clicks away, this weird sort of, both in the 5 years ago and the 3 months ago, this sort of strange circular shape, and he goes, "Okay, yeah, that actually seems to be a very likely source for it."
Who are we talking to right now?
This is Gunnar.
Gunnar. I like to ask Gunnar if we need more, basically weapons and stuff to expand upon our weapons. If we could have a contact through the Inquisition to supply us with those things.
When it comes to time to assault, yes, you'll definitely have backup. If you're heading there, let us know as quickly as possible.
We might, perhaps there are some Later on, we hope to monitor the area, see if they have any
Do we have a
Aquila
Vox
lighters
phone?
or.
Do we have a Vox phone in the party?
We have a Vox repeater that we can use so we can be
Yeah.
able to contact them.
Basically, so that we can contact them. Okay.
Yep.
Because we have their channel.
Yes, the point I'll be making is that we're hoping to, when we go there, we're not going to initially go there to storm the place, because we don't know if that's certainly the place. We want to hopefully stake it out, see what trucks or Aquila landers get, basically the numbers on them, and basically we can back check, see where these things are supposed to be. If they're, like, I imagine aircraft are going to have a little bit more legislature and stuff about them, so we might be able to track them using those kind of type things, and then at the other side, grab them and figure out what if the stuff is in them, or this could just be some other kind of narcotic, which would be nice to find, but it's not our main goal. So we can not get ourselves directly involved straight away.
Okay.
So,
Also, a very quick question outside of game, just because I don't really know the system that well. Why is it good to have 2 microbeats? Why would that be handy?
if one goes away, you have the second one.
Also, what I've seen people do in games, one time, one of the guys did was he got his microbeat. He a bit of tech use. He basically increased the power output to the mics, to the headphones, made it a little bit louder. And then he set it up and he did his other microbeat, and he lured the guy into a trap because your man could hear his voice in the distance over here. So
okay.
if you get creative, 2 of anything is usually better than 1.
Okay.
Also, actually, one of the things I was going to, the microbeat I had a character creation because of Imperial Guard. I don't know if you read my Gaunt's Go stuff, but they have some that like they have their ones implanted in that. So I don't know if you're happy with me having that or something else.
Yeah, if you want it to be implanted, that's perfectly fine.
Yep. Cool.
So all of us now have microbeats from.
Yep.
Okay.
So yeah, you're led through a series of underground tunnels that seem to be. You're fairly certain that honestly part of their design is to make it impossible to remember the way the way you came in and the way you left, essentially. But it comes out to what looks to be a farmhouse on the edge of town, the edge of the city. And then from there, you're led by someone else a brief distance to there.
Our armors and that kind of thing are still in this place, or we're taking it to the next place, and there we're switching
We
into
can
this
probably pack them up in a crate or something, and we can have them keep storm nearby, kind of a thing.
Yeah.
This is so we have them on our persons.
And this isn't Gunnar. This is actually what looks to be some lesser inquisitorial functionary. Just says, all right. So this is your van. This is the you'll be getting off on the next one of these little lighters that heads over there. They'll drop you off on the edge of the borehole. And the fact that someone's going to be dropping off there will probably tell some of the locals that, oh, hey, look, a potential buyer's in. We've got... I'll also call ahead, let the landing pad know they've got incoming. But yeah, all of the excess equipment's loaded up in the van, so you can grab it when you need it.
Okay.
Okay.
And he just says, "Well, good luck, and Emperor go with you."
Good, so yeah, we're going to be doing some Aquila Lander charting fun.
Yeah, it's not quite it's similar to an Aquila Lander, but obviously slightly modified. From the looks of it, from the looks of it, it most likely has some sort of extra hidden cargo areas. But it also has a large enough area that your van can easily fit in.
Okay, great.
I
On a
just
journey,
imagine us like the A-team in a black van with a red thing on the side.
I'm going to do some slight modifications using trade armor, just putting a custom grip on the pistol and the lasgun. The lasgun will be disassembled for most time, and also because the journey will probably take a few hours. Attaching the exterminator, basically as an underbarrel part to the lasgun.
I just look at you and I ask you, wait, where did you get those?
Well, my good man, some of us came prepared, and we made a few friends on our journey here. He's just like tweaking away as he's attaching. Which to take he will before he does this, he will, just so he doesn't freak out the tech priest, inform the tech priest that he is a certified tech adept, and he would be more than happy for the tech priest afterwards. He wouldn't want to waste your time with this low end stuff, but afterwards, if you want to peruse, make sure you did everything right. He's more than happy for you to do so. Because you're the professional. I am an abbot. I'm certified. Still, you're the professional.
Wait, are we allowed to then assemble our weapons?
No. I'm going to be disassembling before we go. It's just so later on I'm specifying to the GM I'm doing this.
Right.
Okay. No, I just mean as a roleplay with an tech priest here. If we're certified to just start disassembling and assembling our weapons.
Yeah. Attaching, basically reassembling your weapons to parts, I imagine you don't need. But it's my infantry has trade armor and tech use, and his background is he is trained to his family builds las guns and armor and things like that.
When it comes down to it, most people who are trained in weapons, I presume if you've got the weapon training, you can also disassemble and reassemble the weapon, because in real life, usually whenever you're in the military and you train on a weapon, you're trained to disassemble and reassemble that weapon.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Do we know how to disassemble?
I just meant if it upsets the tech priest. I don't know if that's allowed or
Don't
not.
disassemble them if you can't put them back together.
Ah.
Yeah. See, the thing is, you'd be able to do basic disassembling. My guy would actually be able to take, basically, because I got trade armor and tech use, I'd be able to disassemble and go, oh, this spring is fucked. And I'd be able to turn around and go, spring 42, and put it. Building one from scratch, my guy could even do, well, once he's got the base materials, but the tech priests, they can do the fancy stuff. Okay. My guy can do a certain level of donkey work. Because I'm never going to be taught how to make a plasma gun. It's not going to happen. But lasguns I can make.
Okay, then basically after that remark, I sit back on my seat and start mumbling to myself about stuff.
Yeah. Okay.
Also, did Nick fall asleep or something?
No, I think his internet gave out.
Yeah. His internet shat itself.
Or internet.
It's known to happen on occasion. So, trip over is very uneventful for the most part. There's a certain amount of, occasionally just making sure everything's fine, and very very small amount of, we totally know you're here for criminal stuff, and we're totally not going to say a thing about it.
Unfortunately, I don't have the kind of social skills I'd like. The guy who has those kind of social skills there. So I'm going to run everything off command. I'm just going to order around all the street scum. Where's your fucking boss, sunshine?
But we're getting flown there now? Or
yeah, you're getting flown there now.
Okay. Can I make a small talk with the pilot, or is he busy?
Now, he's somewhat busy, but not. If you want to come on up to the cockpit, he'd probably be willing to talk at certain points.
I'm just making small talk with him, but basically trying to ask if he can do these flights, if he always has to be with the company, or if he could do some for us in a private sense.
It's like, well, to be perfectly honest, the ship belongs to the company. So unless you have another ship for me to fly.
What's his name?
His name is Ethel.
Okay. Ethel the pilot.
Like, and I assume you're just talking about flying you somewhere on the planet's surface, right?
Yes.
Okay. Just checking. I've had one or two people go, "Hey, you want to come?" Attempt to press gang me into working on their merchant ships.
No, I would never ask such a thing. I'm just
Now,
in case we ever need a skilled pilot who we can trust.
what makes you think you can trust me?
Can I roll a scrutiny roll?
Sure.
To see if I can actually trust him.
Go ahead. Make that roll.
91! Jesus Christ! I just believe that I can trust him.
Totally trust this guy.
Yeah, just try.
Eminently trustworthy.
I just pat him on the shoulder and I say, I just have a good feeling about you.
I mentally ticks off. This guy is a sucker. I will bilk him for all he is worth later.
Well, that's why he's just a muscle. See?
But yeah, unless anyone else is going to do something aboard the trip.
Is there anything interesting in the ship that we should take a look at? What does the inside of the ship look like?
It's just,
information
it's just a slightly larger transport vessel that can also transport, vehicles. In fact, looking at the size of the vehicle area, you're figuring it could probably you who have actually had some battlefield experience go, yeah, that could probably transport most of the tanks.
Yeah.
As for Gaius, he goes, well, okay, you couldn't fit a Bane blade in here. But you could probably... Well, if you shortened the barrel just slightly, or turned it at an angle.
So a demolisher. Grant.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Only one, mind, but still. And, yeah, it's, you're actually able to see the borehole mine when you're about, it's kind of hard to tell, but based on the size of the buildings that you can just barely see next to it, that thing looks to be at least 10 kilometers across.
The building?
The borehole.
Oh, okay.
And based on some of the others you saw, this is one of the smaller ones. This one they haven't finished. They haven't mined all the useful stuff out yet. One other thing you notice is... actually, everyone make an awareness test, and it'll be an awareness test at +10 for the Psyker.
Okay.
God damn it.
So I've got to be 10... Wait. I've got to be...
Under 10
of my awareness.
Yes.
Okay.
I have a reasonable perception. I have awareness. Just roll like shit.
Clearly, I'm too focused on the task ahead of me.
Right, let's see.
Also, very quick question. Could I run downstairs and grab something to eat and drink real soon?
Sure.
I don't know if you have a break time or something like that.
If we want to take a break for FUD, that can be done shortly, I suppose.
Okay.
Alright, so, have you rolled yet?
Yes, I
What
have.
What do you roll?
64.
64? I don't think that's...
I did not think I passed.
No. Okay.
Oh, because that's perception. Okay. All
We're
right.
just all looking at a hole and be like, yes, that's a giant hole.
So about the only thing you guys really notice is that, in a borehole mine, you'd usually expect there to be you'd actually expect there to be a bit more dust in the air, but it actually seems a lot brighter than you'd expect. Because usually borehole mines are pretty polluted.
Where
So,
does
like,
the
There's
light-
no, there. It feels like they're not drilling.
Oh no, you can. You're fairly certain it's active. It's just that you're not seeing any really big signs of pollution.
Hmm.
Okay.
Um, but and actually, if Gaius wants to make a one of his many available lore checks, he might be able to figure out why that would be.
I will do so. I'm actually going to fate point that.
You've got 4.
Okay, if that is ordinary difficulty, I'll pass.
Yep, ordinary.
Okay.
You do know that, at the very least with Devastone, there are very strict pollution protocols with it because of what's largely classified in the chemistry things as negative side effects from inhalation.
All the mutants in the world.
Like what?
Yes,
Okay.
Okay.
And mind you, this is in chemistry checks that go, oh hey, what's this? It's foof? Oh, that's perfectly fine. You can just throw it on the floor. Foof being one of the more, unstable chemical reaction. It's what dihydrogen difluoride. It's one of those things where people who are like, yeah, my degree is working with dangerous chemicals. I will not fucking touch this. Because it burns everything. But yeah, you're able to fly, and you actually do. One thing you do notice once you actually get on the ground is that not only does it not seem dark, the sunlight just seems brighter here than it was anywhere else on the planet.
Before we get out,
Mm-hmm.
I'm putting in my filtration flux. Since they're subtle and I want to breathe in as little of this crap as possible.
Alrighty. But yeah, you're able to offload in your van quite easily, and I know at least one of you has the operate surface skill.
I do.
So, as you get your van out of their thing, you actually notice what looks to be a couple different groups around the edge of the little airport here. Basically 3 different groups in different colors. One is largely wearing white and blue. One is largely wearing green and purple. And the final one is mainly in reds and golds.
Beyond.
Each of them just seem to be interested in you, but none of them are approaching you just yet.
Beyond the colors that they're wearing, can we tell anything else about them? Like, who do they seem to be?
Well,
how many
if you
people, roughly.
Now there's if you want to pick up, if you want to look at the data slate that gave you the details on local gangs.
Sure, why not?
Also, are any of them armed? In just last pistols.
Let's hear. Each of them, from this distance, you do notice that a couple of them seem to have different sorts of weaponry. The red and gold largely seems to have what largely looks like some las gun weaponry. The green and purple largely largely solid projectile stuff, and then the white and blue has a mixture of that as well as a number of crossbows actually.
Hey.
But you're at least 2 of them are actually listed in the data slate. The red and gold is actually a group called the Emperor's Men that are run by a small-time noble family with delusions of adequacy. That's actually pretty much how it's listed right there. that seeks to use them as a in a bid to regain some level of power. Second group that's listed there is the green and purple. Those are the the Friends of the Miners, which are one of the many gangs run by the Miners Guild. The blue and white group isn't on the listing.
Can I roll?
Sure.
Sooner or later I've got to pass.
This one will be at -10, by the way.
No.
Can I make an awareness roll in case something special sticks out right now?
Sure.
60 is also not good. One day I will roll good.
One day.
But not today. I'm just going to, as we pass by different groups, I'm just going to smile and nod. I'm not going to go over and talk to them. They'll, I'll just smile and nod to them as if, like, basically, I want you to notice me, kind of a thing. I want you to know that I'm here, and I'm going to head into, I'm sure there's some kind of saloon bar kind of thing.
Yeah, like a short distance away, there's, nearby, there's essentially a, miner's tavern.
Are there any pilots inside?
Not really.
Oh. Wait, we all follow, I guess. I'm not. Like, you're not just walking in there
You
alone.
don't have to. You can start. You can take out your last pistol and bludgeon somebody to death with it. I can't make.
Oh, I don't really have a last pistol, so that would be hard.
Or a hand cannon. That would probably be easier to bludgeon someone to death with.
Last one would be sturdy. So yeah, I'll go in for a moment, and yeah, we're not in the immediate. Like, I don't need to find out in the next little bit. So basically, go in, order a round of drinks, and go to one of the, if we can get kind of a private booth, just off to the side, and just kind of wait. I'm kind of hoping that they'll send somebody to speak with us, somebody low down, because I've hoped and tried to have made it clear why we might be here.
If they're gonna sit down, I'm gonna just stand a little bit in front of them, just looking around the room. Basically, I'm going to pretend that I'm the muscle.
Yep. Well, you can, there are a couple larger booths that, are not. It's not so much they're shadowed as that they are just, because everything's shadowed in here, but there's, some of them are slightly less well lit than others. And, a number of the miners sort of look up. They briefly look over you guys, and then most of them just go back to their drinks or their talking, and, sort of, yes, they know you're here. Most of them are going, this is not my problem, this is not my problem, this is not my problem.
Exactly, and for most of them, it very much isn't their problem. While we're there, though, I will keep an eye out, see if there's any way, passing around spook or anything like that.
Yeah, nothing quite obvious.
Probably not as blatantly obvious.
Yeah. I mean, there's definitely, you can tell some people are smoking Obscura in one of the corners, but no signs of people, taking spook.
Yeah, because that would be bad.
Yeah. One thing you do notice, though, is some of the older miners don't seem to be as together as the younger ones.
How so?
Just sort of, it's, a lot of them have that sort of occasion, they'll be talking and then they'll just sort of, they'll just stop a moment and then stare off into space and then, shake their head, go back to what they were doing.
In our readings, I'll double check over the data slate, make sure it's not angled so anybody else can see it outside of our group. But double check, do they know what kind of value they're selling the spook for? Basically, what cost? Because I need to be able to haggle for this.
Well, some of them, that's the thing. It seems to vary world on world, but it usually is just enough to make it seem like it's like they're that they're basically almost everywhere that
shit.
it's been priced. It's priced just enough that the people that even the poorest people can get it, but they have to give up quite a lot to get it. So it obviously seems to them like they're it's not obvious to the end users that it's being spread around, but once you start paying attention to the pricing scheme, which seems to vary from gang to gang, it's very obvious that it's being spread around.
Okay. Yeah, I guess just gonna have to wait a little while because they're gonna need time to talk to someone else. But sooner or later, someone from one of the three gangs is gonna show up. I hope.
3 days later.
First person that actually comes up to you is someone wearing the golden red colors. Just sort of very blatantly walks over. Steps in, looks around, and walks directly towards your booth.
Okay, I will. When he comes close, I will stop him.
He's like,
I'm asking what's his business. What if he has business?
he just looks at you and
Well,
goes,
I certainly
"Please.
hope so.
I wouldn't be here if I didn't have business."
Can I ask him to be searched, or is that something that he will probably
No.
shoot me for?
Oh, you could, he actually at this point just goes, "Look, you want to search me? Go ahead."
I just look at sorry, what's your name again? Gaius.
yeah.
Gaius, and I just look at him and see if he can pass through.
Yeah, we'll leave the searching. It's like, well, don't get too handsy. I don't want
Okay.
them too ruffled up.
Then I'll walk back to my spot.
So will you? So you actually gonna
I
search
don't-
him for?
No, he said I shouldn't search him, so I won't search him. I'm trying to make sure that they know that he's the boss and I'm just the hired man.
Yeah, and he just sort of smiles and says, "Okay," sits down and says, "So, what are you here for?"
Oh, well. Here for leisure, bit of purchasing, commerce. You can call me Mr. Johnson. I'm quite pleased. The first race here has been quite entertaining. The Emperor's men are the first over the finish line. I hope to a wonderful relationship. May I know your name?
My name is Vitellius. He looks like he's trying to pass himself off as actually noble. He really isn't.
Oh, very good. Oh, the Emperor's men are no disrespect to some of the other groups here. But, certainly didn't even recognize the fellows with the more antiquated machinery, shall we say. But
Those guys, they just showed up in the past, 2 years, and trying to muscle into our territory. We've been repulsing them, of course. But, yeah, they don't actually have anything worth trading for. As you can see, I mean, they're using crossbows. Who uses crossbows?
well, it certainly gives him. I thought it was a stylistic choice personally, but we'll see how that works out for them. But tell me, my friend. As I said, I'm here for leisure activities. Maybe make a few procurements, make some friends. Long-standing relationships. That's my business. Long-standing relationships.
And what are you hoping to get out of these long-standing relationships?
Well, your particular world. Now, we didn't go straight for the anybody HQ, anybody at the top, because, well, let's be honest, we're not exactly from this neck of the woods, and if we show up, start barking around at our head office, all we're going to do is end up with a few lumps on the back of the head. Maybe a few early graves. But, come out here, see who wishes to speak with us. Start with some of the respectable ground floor management, such as yourself.
Of course.
But your world's developing, amongst certain circles, a little bit of a reputation for luxury goods, shall we say, a particular luxury good. And Well, I have some friends who would like a flow of resources.
We could definitely procure certain luxury goods. Depends, of course, on the specific nature, but I've made a few deals with the occasional rogue trader wanting to build a ship on the sly, stuff like that.
Oh my. You are doing quite well then, I take it. But yes, bulk goods, we know the, but it looks like the profit margin on this particular item is not too, but we have some friends who can move things discreetly. Favors out, that kind of thing. But tell me, like I said, we'll be looking for rather substantial quantities. So I'm sure you can procure these things. However, if the, with all due respect, if the friends of the miners are the ones who are producing, I might be able to get better value. I would be more than happy to work
Well,
with the.
I will freely admit, Friends of the Miners have a better access to more quality, but they don't have access to quite as much subtlety as the Emperor's men have.
Depending on how things work out, my orders might have to be filled with multiple individuals, seeing how many you can acquire.
I suppose, as he just kind of sits there and goes, "Holy crap! What exactly are they building?"
It's like, oh my god, they were like gigantic, like several cargo holds on a cruiser full of spook. What the fuck?
It's like, well, depending on exactly which luxury goods you're needing, we may be able to meet your needs. We've got a couple things that can. I mean, we may not have the, like I said, the friends may have a bit more. Shall we say quantity? But they're also likely to take it all from one place, and that is more likely to attract certain sorts of attention. Whereas we are more likely going to pull it out from a bunch of different sources. So while the overall numbers do go down, it's not very obviously, oh hey, there's a problem over here at borehole 31C.
Well, very good. I do appreciate that kind of ingenuity. However, we'll probably be having dealings with multiple parties, but the antiquated fellows, not quite as sure about them. But perhaps we'll have a word too. So, on the plus side of having long-term things, however, for the exact main specifics that have attracted our attention, and he leans in a little bit quieter, just a little bit, drawing in a bit closer. Like, we have heard through some of our allies that there are substantial supplies of spook. We may be opening up some new markets. I don't know if you can supply.
And he actually kind of blinks.
But these guys are referring it to as Diva's Dust.
Diva's Dust. But he obviously recognizes.
And he goes, sorry. Oh, like I said, not from exactly. You would,
no.
I believe like, local.
Yes, Diva's Dust, but.
Sorry. Like I said,
no. It's perfectly fine. It's just I don't know anyone that's making large-scale amounts of it.
Can I roll a scrutiny roll to see if he's lying?
Sure.
Come on, just roll good ones. Yay!
Yay.
Yeah, he doesn't know about anyone producing it in large quantities at all. He's like confused.
That was most unfortunate. Most unfortunate.
It's like, I'll see what I can find. I mean, there might be... Obviously, I don't know what's being done everywhere, but... haven't actually heard of that being produced in large quantities.
Well, like
And-
I said, it might not be the Rotnik. It might not be this particular settlement. There could be other areas. I don't particularly mind which areas it is. It could be on the other side of the planet for all I care. All I care about is a steady stream. Anyway,
Yeah.
what perhaps can I do for you? What is your particular gang in need of? What? Sorry, he wouldn't say gang. What is you and your associates in need of? What do you need? What perhaps can I make contacts? Because this does not have to be a wasted opportunity. There is always a flow of goods and resources, and I'm sure you have other things you wish to offer.
Oh, well, yes, among other things, whereas, of course, money, basic money is always nice. One other thing that we would always like to have is a chance to have favors to be paid at a certain date. That would allow us to, well, basically to benefit our own benefactors. And as their fortunes grow, so do ours.
I just basically like to discuss for the next while with him. I'm gonna try and gather information in regard of because I still have to maintain the kind of front.
Yep.
What materials? Basically, if they're selling anything cheap here, or if there's anything they really have a shortage of that they would like more of, whether it's guns or whatever, or just different, even basic luxuries, or what would increase. And I'll hand him. I'll give him one. I'll offer him a low stick. He's relaxing. At times, like I'll buy him a drink and just kind of.
Go ahead and make a +10 commerce check.
Oh, come on! I'm doing a reroll. Fate point. Okay, that's 2 degrees of success.
So, pretty much, as far as things they're short on, it does seem that they would like to have a few more weapons than they've got. Also, a slightly wider variety of weapons. Possibly, if they can get any hotshot weapons, that would be, that would be super awesome. As well as, anything like, they're not expecting you to have it, but anything really rare, such as, Melta or plasma weapons would be, useful.
Just kind of like tapping these, going, that would take some time.
No, it's like, oh no, I fully understand, but even a single one of those at the right time, at the right place, can, turn the tide of quite a lot of things. Also, actually, one other thing they're looking for is off-world toxins.
As in poisons or drugs?
As in poisons.
Oh.
Okay. None of the things I was hoping for a bit more. Like none of the things he's asking for are things I'm willing to connect him up with.
Yep.
He was like, "Oh yeah, we could use shit tons of heroin." Yeah, I'm totally getting you sorted out heroin. Like,
yeah. They're like, we need hardware and poison. They're like, poison? Yes. It's like.
It sounds like this particular settlement is a little less stable. I suppose it's these newcomers. What did you call them again?
Honestly, I'll be honest, I haven't really heard what they call themselves, but some of the locals have taken to calling them the Moon's Children. And one thing is the planet does have like several moons, but they're on the order of like Phobos and Deimos. Nothing that's really easily noticeable in the night sky unless you're looking for it.
Are those thinking back into records? Are those moons inhabited?
Most of the moons are uninhabited. One is listed as do not approach, navigational hazard. And then basically, and if you look, and one thing you'll notice is that this is it's actually forbidden by not just the various Navis nobility are like, we will not go near that. It's also, suggested by the Arbites to no one go near that.
Okay. Anybody else want to ask him anything, or?
I'm just a hired muscle.
Yeah.
Not that I can think of at the moment.
No, okay.
Is anything really happening inside of the bar? Like, are people trying to pay attention to what's happening or not?
Most of them aren't paying close attention. You've got a couple people who are sort of trying very hard to seem like they're not paying attention while they are, and doing kind of poorly at it, as people who are somewhat drunk tend to do.
Is that what, like it's kind of neat with the subtlety thing. If I'm trying to, we're not looking like inquisitorial agents, but we are looking like buyers, which will
Exactly.
which will get the guys to come up because somebody feel like, and if they're paying attention and they go off and discreetly say the gang, whichever one of the two other gangs has the hookups for the supply, it's obvious we're more interested in looking with the producers, basically, see how they're doing.
One other thing you have noticed is that there, one or two people who are not overtly wearing the green and purple, but have like just little flashes of it every so often, have shown in. They're actually doing a good job of not paying attention while paying attention.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, if I catch any of them looking and your man's just looking the other way, distracted or something, I'll just kind of incline my head, lift the drink, and it's like, oh, look, I'm having to talk with you too.
But yeah, the thing you're able to get from Vitellius is he has a very high opinion of himself.
That's fine. I will gladly flatter his ego.
But it seems that a lot of what he wants is not quite equal to what he's offering in return.
No, he just wants guns and toys. He just wants to murder people. It's like, no.
Well, it's very obvious. The sort of thing you're getting from this is whether or not they're doing well elsewhere. Here, they're like, look, we just want to kill a bunch of people right now. But yeah, after a while, he's like, okay, I'll see. He's also really confused by the spook because he was expecting other things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll exchange some comm frequency details with him if he wants to, contact me. Like I said, I said to him, the melt weaponry transform, I get that, but it's going to take time. Probably be a few months, kind of a thing.
Oh, and he's like, yeah, we can wait a few months.
It depends. It depends on how the things are working out.
Of course. But he's definitely promising the moon, and whether or not he can, he's promising the moon in theory. Whether he can deliver is another question. But yeah, after a little while, he's like, all right, well, I'm gonna go see if I can scare up some of the stuff you wanted, and if you're gonna be in town for a while, I'll just contact you when I've got more details.
Yep.
So
we're getting more of the stuff off the street.
Are we gonna stay here and see if the other two groups are also contact us?
Oh, they will. There's some of them basically waiting in the wings. They'll wait like 5 minutes after the
I understand, but I just want to know if you want to wait for them.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
it's okay. Somebody will attack us sooner or later.
So about 5 minutes after he leaves, come some of the other groups. Basically one of the people who's been doing a good job of not being obvious, just sort of heads on over your way, and sort of smiles, says, "Hey, can I buy you folks a drink?"
Oh, most appreciated. Most appreciated.
I'm very suspicious about it.
Who is it? What does he look like?
He's at this point making sure that you guys can see that he does have a bit of the green and purple on, but it's fairly well hidden.
Can I roll a scrutiny roll to see if he's really buying us drinks?
You don't need to roll a scrutiny roll. He actually goes out and buys a round of drinks and brings them to the table.
Okay. It's more that he's not doing anything with it.
Yeah, he brings us to the table and then just sits down and joins you because he's obviously bought one extra drink for himself.
Yep.
It's like, so, um, so he says quietly. So I hear you're in the market for certain small, but for large amounts of certain easily concealable luxury items.
Well, to turn a profit, although we might have a untapped market, it would have to be rather large quantities. So,
Yeah. We
but I'm
can
always in
provide.
the neighborhood for smaller, more long-term, stable.
Well,
things.
yes. To be perfectly honest, we don't necessarily have the manufacturing capability for that. What we can do, however, is give you the basic rules, the basic idea of how to make some of these things you're after, as well as a supply of the raw material required. Which wouldn't be, if you're looking to have finished material ready for shipping, I'm not certain that anyone on the planet is capable of doing that in the quantities you're likely looking for.
Well, we know that the more the common materials we can acquire other places, but the key ingredients are more locally produced, so that we'd hope to bought some pre-packaged material, shall we say, but that may not be available.
If you're willing to deal with groups that might pull you under the radar of people you probably don't want to be under, you can try the Moon's Children. That said, I don't trust them. From what little I've seen, they're not above using the occasional weird. And not above using their product themselves.
Well, I'm not exactly buying Obscura in bulk myself.
Yeah.
But what can I get you? How can I? Because like I said, I will be very happy to have all you fine, colourful gentlemen in a good mood with me when I'm leaving. Don't want to leave anybody out of sorts.
Of course. No,
I myself, I'm
you...
a humble businessman, a merchant. The big men up top, they'll just send somebody else if I get taken out. Possibly with a few larger friends, but still. That doesn't do me any good if I'm find myself awake
and from the sounds of it, if I was able to gauge this right, I'm guessing you are here on behalf of a dynasty or something similar, based on some of the things you're suggesting.
I could never confirm such things. What would an individual such as myself, a humble businessman, I couldn't be dealing with those kind of people.
Of course,
far too above me.
But yeah, we can at the very least provide you with Devastone in bulk, if you need it, and the plans for manufacturing. Largely small scale. I'd actually recommend, for the most part, you keep all of the Devastone in as good, if possible, hermetic sealing. If not possible, at the very least, possibly stored under vacuum conditions, just to be on the safe side. The side effects, well, my dad has been a miner. My dad was a miner for the full 10 years allowed by the guild rules. He's not quite the same anymore.
Okay. On a more legal side, that's illegal.
Right.
Parlance. On a more mundane, everyday level, yeah, obviously the Friends of the Miners have association with Friends of the Management and Miners Guild and such. Is there, like I said, any shortages in machinery? Such things as this, I might know a few friends, so I'm not saying anything, amongst different organizations who may be able to provide such things at a reasonable rate. If you give me a list of, if you make some inquiries, I might be able to...
Oh, yes. I can tell you right away one thing we will always need: air filtration supplies. Those things are constantly breaking down, and we need a lot of them. Anything along those lines we could definitely use. Beyond that, we're usually fairly well supplied with the actual mining tools. It's more the personal safety personal safety items that we tend to get shorted on.
So rebreathers, filtration plugs, even things like that, that would be quite useful.
Also, the seismic scanners as well. Those would be useful.
Seismic scanners, and he's actually taking this down to Dave's place.
Largely because those will help us avoid. Well, among other things, we might be able to find more sources for mining. At least, veins we might have otherwise missed, as well as prevent collapses.
Very good. Well,
at this point, Erica, go ahead and roll Cynicians.
Okay. Where is...
And it's based off of your perception again.
Oh, no, I lost it. 19, yeah, okay.
So you roll the 19?
Mhm.
So...
yeah, I'm good. Okay.
Yeah, you're actually able to notice that that someone's using psychic powers in the vicinity. Very specifically, what you're... Let's see, how many degrees of success is that? Basically, how many 10s under your perception score?
My perception score is 36, so almost it's a.
So at least 1 degree of success.
Yeah.
So at the very least, you're able to tell first and foremost someone's using a divination ability.
So someone watching us?
And where is it? There it is. In fact, what your guess is that it's if you want to make a plus 20 check against your Forbidden Lore Psychers.
Yeah. Alright. Oh. This app. Failed that one.
Okay. You know it's a divination power. Exactly which one you're not certain, but you're guessing it's more along the lines of sensing of one of the non-combat based ones.
Okay, it's something along those lines, and not like something like would be used in battle or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Do we have any idea who is using the powers and what they might be using them for?
Well, the one thing you're able to notice is that
Direction it's coming from, anything like that?
actually the biggest thing that you're noticing is it doesn't feel like you've dealt with human psychers before, with plenty of other human psychers before. This doesn't feel like any human psyker you've dealt with.
How so?
It feels
Spooky.
pretty much what it feels is a bit subtler than you're used to.
Is there any way I can go investigate or find out more?
No,
Just
it's pretty much it's a detection power, but you don't. If you had divination, certain abilities, you'd probably be able to go. Wait, who's?
I do not. Okay.
Yep.
All right.
But yeah. But among other things, it definitely doesn't feel like and you met a couple of the psychers with the Inquisition. It doesn't feel like they're checking up on you.
Yeah. Okay.
But yeah, that while that happens, you're still in the conversation with the friend.
Has the new one, the Moon's Children, has someone of them walked into the bar yet, or not?
Nope, you're not seeing any signs of white and blue in the bar at the moment.
Aww.
Yeah, they might be trying to make a grand entrance, making up for the lack of gear with it. So they might be divining into the bar or something like that. That's what could be going on. It's like, yes, you see, we knew the moment you were finished. We are amazing. Yeah, I'm actually going to try and basically You know, because I know what they want. They would be willing to pay for different things, whether it be trade or for money. If I can get a good price out of him for what what I think they'd be willing to, or gauge what they'd be. Could you get a good price for a load of filtration things, even small amounts of it, or whatever?
No, and he's basically for the most part he just sees it as an exchange of things like he does say usually the quality of Devastone that goes into the to the making of dust is usually lower quality than we could really refine into the materials for what's being say what it gets used for the most part. Such as special advanced weaponry and engines.
Yeah.
So it's like, yeah, usually this is the stuff that occasionally rogue traders will come by and want to make something on the sly and not care about the fact that their warp engines are not nearly as good as they could be. Yeah, they'll buy from us. So, but that's what for Spook. It's not like any
I will
high
give a
quality.
sidelong look at the guy who's obviously a tech priest, and of course that is not your fault. If such scarless individuals do such things, rogue traders should be able to afford to do things of top-notch quality. Now, if they buy the base materials from fine, upstanding gentlemen such as yourself, it's not your fault.
Of course.
If I sell a man a gun, he shoots somebody. That's not my fault.
Of course. I'm simply supplying what they ask for.
Quite reasonable. Quite right.
Most of this would end up slag anyways.
I'm off from a low stick and just kind of chat to him for a while. It's like, yes. You know exactly what I'm doing with that information. Hello, Mr. Rogue Trader friend. You could get good quality. You could get good money for it. You remember the factory does spare filtrate, like you found those containers of filtration plugs and repeaters. Yeah, I found a place where you could sell that for good money. Because even filtration plugs, much cheaper, but they're better than nothing. And to be fresh ones. These ones would probably be like. Yeah, just even canisters for breeders and things like that. Yeah.
But yeah, he's but yeah, he'll talk for a while and then he'll be like, all right, I'll go contact people, see how much we can scare up in the near future, and then talk about what we want to do for the long term.
I explained to him it's not something I need for the next. I'm just here to talk. I'm not here to collect.
No, it's like, well, yeah, but even so, you'll probably want at least some samples to take back.
Oh yes, do small samples for purity, like you said. My employer would like a range of us.
Okay, and he heads out. Most of the other people wearing the green and purple leave. A couple of them seem to stay, just sort of keeping an eye out. And now, everyone make an awareness check. You can make a Cynicians check at +20 instead.
Alright. Clinicians plus.
Oh my god.
Yep.
I have a quick question.
Yeah.
I was looking through my stuff. I have keen intuition, and I think I can re-roll a failed awareness check with a -10.
You can.
If I can?
Yeah, you can. That's exactly what it's for.
Reroll. Minus-
Okay. Then I would like to re-roll it. A
Let's see,
-10.
what do you get?
Oh my
You
god!
make it.
No.
Well, you missed everything.
Because of the -10, I actually see less now.
Yep. So you're caught off guard by this. Let's see here. So basically, what it actually, so Erica and what did you get, Alexander, on your roll?
Wait, sorry, a friend texted me, so I had to. What do I need to roll?
Awareness.
Just awareness.
Alright, awareness, let's see. Alright. No, I failed.
Nope. All right. So Kevin and Erica, you're both able to you are actually able to see someone who's coming up, and it basically appears they're using some sort of psychic power to cloak themselves.
Ooh, do we
Or at least cloak their appearance.
something that I was picking up on before, or this is
This actually feels like a human psyker, but it
Okay.
also definitely feels like someone who's unsanctioned as well.
seems
I
to be
see.
seems to
I
be
s-
using a cloak over. Do we see anyone coming towards us?
No, you actually can see them as they
Oh,
come
I
in.
okay.
Yeah, you're able to see them. You are able to
Okay.
not see them, but you're able to hear the noises they make. Cause they're, it's one of those. I'm invisible. I don't have to worry about making sounds. You hear like footsteps walking up to the
Okay.
spot.
I'm gonna. Sorry, you go first.
Yep.
I'm the only one who can see them. Apparently, anything notable about their appearance beyond the fact that they seem to be trying to cloak themselves and possibly an unsanctioned psyker.
Um, they're somewhat short. They look to have a mild hunchback going on.
Hmm.
So
I'm going to just as if somebody had started walking up, even though he doesn't know I can't see. Like I hear things. I am putting one hand, the hand on the inside near the concealed holster, because I don't know for sure. But I'm going to try and play a cool and calm. I will gesture towards the vacated seat, as if I know totally what's going on. Of course.
Yep. Well, and
And hope I don't get shot, because I still
Right.
don't know where they are.
no, and actually someone who, among other things, looks to have fairly extensive scarring and a hunchback, just sort of appears on the empty seat.
Oh.
And he just
Am I
sort
still looking into the bar?
probably so suddenly
No,
suddenly
I just sat there, just looking around, like, huh.
Hmm.
but yeah, he just appears in the seat and just goes,
You probably shouldn't do that. My friend can get a little bit jumpy, as you see.
I just turn around. Like, what?
yeah. There's this butt ugly guy with a hunchback just sitting there. He just sort of grins up at you.
Interesting.
It's like, so. I hear you guys are looking for Depossessed in large
Oh,
quantities.
It's a local parlance. Unfortunately, although others can require some small amount, from what I'm hearing, you boys, the Moon's children, might be the ones who are
Yes,
possibly in the holding the quantities we'd be looking for.
Let's just say we have certain advantages that the others don't. So yeah, we can definitely. That said, if you're simply looking, the question is, are you looking to supply it directly on the ground or to ship it from place to place? Because we actually are largely able to handle the shipping ourselves.
Well, the shipping we
That's
can handle
manageable.
ourselves. The shipping we can handle ourselves.
In that case, I can probably tell you the worlds you'll want to go to, as our method is not holistic. It doesn't cover everything. Certain places are harder to get to for us. So we could provide you with a list of worlds that have a that you can supply it to, and that way we won't be stepping on each other's toes, as it were.
Well, it might whatever names you come out with, that might be it's good not to have too much overlap, and well, we only had one or two markets in mind, but if you would enlighten me further, I'm sure we could I could
Yes.
conclude with my associates and see if other possibilities open up. It would make the
Yes.
boss very happy if I came up with additional choices.
Oh, I'm definitely happy to help you with that. As far as what we need, our needs are actually fairly simple. Well, actually, they're exceedingly complex, but easy to obtain. And he actually, pulls out a piece of paper that has some writing on it and says, "Offer this to a." He's like, he actually looks over. He's like, "Oh, you have a tech priest." He hands it over to you. Some of these devices are fairly common but rare outside of Forge Worlds, but if we could obtain them, that would definitely be helpful. And whether or not, and then he goes, And here's another set. Any good chemist should be able to produce these in good quantity.
I'll
They're
have my man review such things. We can talk about.
they're basically required for some of the purification process, and we've only got limited supplies of them elsewhere. So an additional supply would also always be handy.
I take it
And
your unique abilities, some of the more archaic equipment doesn't bother you as much.
oh, there's very, very good reasons for that. Very well. First off, very rarely does it jam or become inoperable due to certain unforeseen consequences that might occur. And when it does break, it's very, very easy to repair or replace, given that there are a number of free-range groks and the occasional amble. I think there's a herd of them about 20, 30 kilometers east of the borehole. Oh, we can get them for when we need tougher hides.
Very
But even power armor, which is amazingly useful, can be turned off by an inventive opponent.
good. So, well, as you might have noticed, and as I've noticed, your group seems to be quite well to be going unnoticed, and as far as I can, by some underestimated. However, as you might have noticed, my group is a little bit more perceptive. We were looking to find the manufacturing individuals, and it seems by your requests you are the individuals. So, the first leg of my journey is complete. He kind of lifts up the drink.
Ah, I see. Well, so long as you're just looking for supply and not, for instance, something else, I would advise you if you ever think to cross us, it would be unwise.
Well, offers have been made for the method and such things, and we had looked into that. However, it doesn't satisfy our needs. There are inherent difficulties, so we'd rather leave it in more experienced hands.
Of course, of course. Well, there's always certain issues arising, but in any case, one of the interesting side effects you can only find from more extensive use, which I would personally only advise if you wish their gifts, but a handful of people with no previous ability, we shall say, can become permanently gifted.
Oh my. Well, not well. I said I'm a merchant. Don't sample the wares myself. Of course.
Oh, no. Fully understandable.
The boss would not take kindly to such behavior from me.
Well, no. It always depends on whether you're selling it in terms of a narcotic or selling it in terms of a edge, which is, I view this less as simply a more inventive version of Obscura, and more as something along the lines of Slot or Friendzone. It's an ability amplifier. Mind you, yes, it does produce pretty colors, but those are an unfortunate side effect, not the primary.
Very good. I'm just kind of trying to think for a little bit. Anybody else want to pipe in? Feel free to. I just need to check some.
And And one thing that you're actually probably starting to guess, based on some of the way he moves, he's
Mhm.
may not always have been this ugly, or possibly not even always hunchbacked.
Does he smell?
Not particularly. Actually, that's the strange thing, now that you think about it. Most people you can smell. He doesn't have any smell.
Dear God.
Hmm. So you and your associates would be able to provide the kind of quantities we'd be needing?
Oh, yes, of processed pure product. Quite useful. Slight warning, I would only give it to those who are mentally strong. Your average junkie is more likely to come across any unfortunate side effects, which can be quite unfortunate, and are likely to bring down scrutiny.
Interesting. Well, now, as I said, the quantities we would be looking for, well, trying to bring them through this particular location would attract unwanted attention, shall we say. So perhaps you'd be able to suggest a rendezvous point, maybe somewhere out in the country away from prying eyes, where we could
Yes, one moment.
bring some
He
shuttles.
pulls out another piece of paper and scribbles very quickly on something, hands it over to you. Those are the standard planetary coordinates for a place where you can land. One moment. He takes the paper back, writes down something else. These are the best times if you're wishing to avoid showing up on Auspex scanners.
I've been rolling like shit, but I like to roll a scrutiny roll to see if this is really safe.
Yep.
Let's just get this over with. Say. Oh.
That's not as horrible.
Actually not enough. 1 point short.
Just almost, but not quite.
So I don't know if he's lying.
But in any case, that should be a relatively safe place for you to fly into as you need. I would, however, and he takes a piece of paper back, writes down something else. Contact us on this frequency at least an hour and ahead of time to let us know you're coming. 24 hours would be ideal, but well.
Oh, no rush. These kind of things. Best people not to get rushed too much. As I said, I know even my own friends get a little bit twitchy. We take our time, especially in quantities like this. People get nervous.
Oh,
We'll take our time. I'll speak to my boss. It'll free pro quo. We might be speaking again to two of us, or it might be Vox transmissions. No rushing. Everyone stays nice and calm, and everyone has a wonderful, profitable exchange.
Exactly. Yes, that should be most acceptable to my associates. In the meantime, he pulls out actually a very small sachet, hands it over. If you wish to test the purity of this, or if you have someone who, for some reason, really wishes to try it, here you go. Just a show of good faith, as it were.
Oh, much obliged, and I'll take it off and put it in the bag. No, it even open it up. But I'm thinking after that, since we've met representatives of each three games, we'll get like. Sorry.
After that, he sort of vanishes, and actually, from what you can see, looking at it.
Since I could see him before, is he still there?
Oh yeah, no. What it actually looks like is it looks almost like his skin takes on the exact color of whatever's directly behind him. And at least that's how it starts, and then it just sort of goes transparent.
That is weird. What I'll be, I think it was like, well, there's probably some kind of a, maybe not hotel, but inn kind of a thing.
Oh yeah, no, there's actually a number of you know actually this tavern does have a couple rooms to rent. There's also a couple other places, hostels and the like.
Well, people know to find us here, which is both a good and a bad thing. So I suggest we do it here. And go back and acquire our van, drive it here, because we had a bit of walking town, because we wanted people to notice us driving in. But when we're in the van moving, that's when I think we Vox Gunner.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And actually, we checked the map. The location he was suggesting, that's probably not the exact location to that factory, but I'm going to guess it's within, not a huge distance for moving large quantities from that factory.
No, it's actually it's about 10 kilometers away from the factory, and about 2 kilometers away from the thing that Gunnar looked at.
Excellent. So yeah,
what did Gunnar look at?
Yeah, at one point he pulled up on some scan that not even the tech priest necessarily recognized what the hell it was.
Oh yeah,
and there was just some strange circular shining thing.
Okay, so yes, Mr. Gunnar, sir, we have acquired some information. One of the groups that wasn't exactly filled in the data site, a gang known colloquially as the Moon's Children. They were white and blue heraldry, so to speak. They, well, I do believe we met some kind of witch of theirs, clearly mutated. But they gave us some coordinates for us. As I said, it will be long term, but they gave us some coordinates for us to, if we were picking them up at this location, it's, and I'll give them the coordinates. As you notice, it's quite close by the area we're interested in.
Yeah. And wait, you say they're called the Moon's Children?
That they did indeed.
Okay. Well, at least this does narrow things down as to likely sources of this. So
they gave us a frequency as well to contact about 24 hours. So I think it's a general frequency. Perhaps if some kind of Vox unit was set to record on that frequency in the general area, if it could be smuggled in place, if we were to do it ourselves or others, we might be able to get more information, but the sheer proximity would make it seem likely.
Oh, no, we'll get a group setting up some listening posts nearby. So what about the others? What do they offer you?
Oh, well, the friends of the miners. As we're driving, it's more moving the vehicle. It's going to be hard for us.
Who's driving the vehicle?
I'm going to be driving the vehicle. But I'm talking
driving
about
and calling at the same time?
Yep. Yeah, it's a Vox thing. It's a headset. Hands-free. It's great. The friends of the miners. They were mostly interested in getting air filtration units. They were willing to sell the raw materials themselves, as I'm sure you're no doubt aware, and they knew the production method, but they don't seem currently interested in manufacture themselves. Now, the Emperor's men, an individual called Vitellius spoke with us. He said that the Moon's Children had shown up down the last 2 years and been trying to gain territory, but hadn't been meeting with much success. But he was very interested in getting his hands on armaments, particularly higher-end materials, which I wouldn't want running around a facility like that.
Most of the higher end stuff would likely go to the noble family supporting them.
But that said, I'm just to inform you, I intend, not right this minute, but the Friends of the Miners, well, as I understand it, our rogue trader friend has the captain, of course, not me here, has is owed a few favors. Sorry, owes a few favors to the Inquisitor. I would say that perhaps it would be best to, by bolstering his coffers, we strengthen the Inquisitor. I might tip him off to the possible advantage of selling filtration equipment and stuff to the Friends of the Miners, and it's not going to destabilize the area.
Yeah, that was oh, right, you came in on that ship, so yeah. We can definitely pass the word along.
I'll forward on a few words to them, but not right this minute.
Yeah. No, that's probably still in system, to be perfectly honest. They always are willing to look for a way to make a profit. So yeah, I'll let them know about that possibility.
Very good. Very good. Like I said, if
Also
they,
let them know it comes from you.
oh, quite. Thank you. But like I said, they owe a few favors, so them being a stronger position later on might help the Inquisitor.
Yes, it definitely would.
So yeah, does anybody want to do anything else in town? Does anybody want to, like, if there's, I don't want to hug the whole time, but if there's somebody that is really good at stealth, maybe discreetly follow some of the Moon's children, or do we just want to kind of move forward to keeping an eye on this place and, you know, starting to scout it and get ready for the big fight, which will never be happening?
Can we like kind of take a general look around the town and see what else there might be?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
I mean, it's a relatively new borehole.
Said. Okay.
It's only been they've only been working it for about 50 years. Already it's actually looking to be to improve the amounts of production of not just the raw materials for new engine parts and new Geller fields, not to mention their repairs, but also the adamantium substrate that was mentioned is actually becoming is allowing for a lot more material to be produced for both the Imperial Guard and for the Adeptus Astartes that may operate nearby. In fact, one person boasts. I heard they're building like some new some predators from this borehole already. They finished the first one. So the people here are very proud about their little borehole.
Actually, can I might try and acquire, because is it all raw ore here, or is any of it processed here? Like, do they have processing on site?
They do some some basic processing on it. Largely, they process the Devastone for purity and grade. The adamantium substrate, they don't have the machinery to. Mostly, they have the machinery to strip away the dross around it, not the dross embedded in it.
But the lower end materials, iron, possibly ceramics, different things like that, do they process that locally?
Oh yeah.
I might actually try and make an acquisition test. I would like to. I've got the modifiers all marked down, so. Although you might make it a little bit easier because of where we are. God damn it.
I'm afraid I'll have to go since it's almost midnight here, and
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
bye for now.
We could leave it up here.
Yeah, this is actually a good spot to stop. I'll give you guys 200 XP for today.
Much obliged.
Yay.
Thank you, good sir.
And I'll also post that in Facebook right now. Oh noes. No, I still see you in here. You just. There we go. Oh, yeah, it looks like you had a little net hiccup.
We end the transmission up.
Oh, right, stop.